Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I would like to show you guys how to build this AI chat mobile app UI. So it's been a while since I created any UI content on this channel and I wanted to create one. So while I was scrolling through Dribble, I found this AI mobile app chat UI and I decided to show you guys how to build something like this, especially if you are a beginner in Flutter and you need something to build, or you want to learn how to break down UIs into smaller widgets, how to go about your UIs, how do you know where to put each widget, or how do you even just approach any UI. So this is what we'll be doing. This is strongly focused on beginners who want to improve their UI skills. So let's start this video by first breaking down these UIs into smaller chunks or widgets that we can easily represent in Flutter. So I've downloaded this UI and I'm going to open it. Whenever you see a UI like this and you want to build it, regardless of the functionality, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that you are able to map the user interface you are seeing with some kind of component you know in Flutter or widgets. So for instance, I have on the first page this screen and I want to build this. I'm new to Flutter. I don't really know where to start. When I see something like this, how do I start? The first thing is ask yourself, does it have some kind of an app bar, right? Because when you start learning Flutter, one of the few widgets you learn is the app bar widget. And you would know that it is the space at the top, normally for title and navigation content. So realize that in this particular UI, we don't have anything like an app bar, right? It is just some kind of a card, and then a lister or some kind of a text, let me put it that way. Therefore, we are going to start straight away from the body. Within the body, what widgets do we put in the body? What is going to be the parent widget in the body? How do we know that? So you look at the UI. You ask yourself if the content you are seeing will be scrollable, because when the content is going to be scrollable and you don't use the right widget from the start, depending on if the whole body is scrollable, then you are going to find it difficult putting the pieces together. So in this particular context, we don't really know if these cards will scroll or only this history section will scroll, and that's because we don't have a prototype of this UI. We only have a picture of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that this whole page, which is the body, will scroll. Therefore, the body must contain or start with a scrollable widget, right? So the first thing we need in the body is a scrollable widget. Now this can be custom scroll view, lazy view, single child scroll view, any scrollable widgets you want, depending on the effect you want to have. But to make things very simple, we are going to use lazy view for this, right? So in the breakdown, we are going to have a list view, which will house the content, which is this content that we have over here. The first content at the top is going to be a card because it looks like a card, right? There is a card. If you've done any form of UI before, we normally call these stuff cards. So there is a card. And within this card, we are going to have a text, which is going to act like a heading, a subtext, and then a button that says upgrade, and it's a button with an icon. Now within the card, there must be a way we are arranging these content. Within the card, we are going to have some kind of a column to arrange the content over here, which is the text, heading text, the subtext, and then the button. And you realize that there is a big gap over here. If you are a beginner in Flutter, you might use a fixed height, which is a sizer box or whatever, to create this gap. But well, that's not really a good idea, because each time that you need to increase this card height, if for whatever reason, you have to make sure that you are getting the right sizer box height, right, or whatever you are using. Also, you need to calculate the space over here and make sure it's the same as the one over here, which is prone to errors. So what you are going to do most of the time is that you use the axis alignment of the widget you are using. So if you are using a column widget, then it has a main axis alignment that you can use to space out the content within the column. So in the column, we have 3 contents, right? So we can space these contents using the main axis alignment. In this case, we can also use the spacer widget over here to just push everything to the top and then put a button down so it pushes everything downwards. this image over here doesn't look like it is directly within the card over here as a content. So you might look at it as some kind of a background image that is positioned to the right of the card. And that is how you think of UI. Just break them one at a time. Look at them, pick them one widget at a time. Good. So when we come to the next set of widgets, we realize that these two cards over here are aligned in the form of a row. They are all within this big scrollable view, but then when we just look at this two card, we can consider them as aligned in a row. So then we are looking for the row widget. Now when we have the row widgets, we put these two cards in. So this could be normal card, there's the card widget, and then we can give them some kind of a width and then height, because looking at them, they look like they have some kind of a fixed width and height, right? Creating this box shape. So we're going to give them a fixed width and height, and then we put our image, then we put our icon, and this looks more like a circle avatar. So we can use a circular avatar for this, and then we can put the icon within this circular avatar. Now we have a text below it, and also there is some kind of a padding going around this card. So whenever you want to build something like that, just take it, look at the details you are seeing from the UI. I can say there is a space around this card, therefore there might be some kind of a padding. You don't try shifting the circle avatar or the text to the left. That would be bad, because then it will be difficult to calculate how far it should be from the right as well. So padding, whenever there is a space within a content, it is referred to as padding. Next, we are going to have there's a text here, history, and we are going to consider these as list styles. So when you use a list style, it's very easy to style them. We have a leading over here, and then we have a trailing widget over here, and then we have the title of the list style, which is the text within the list style. Adding a border and a background to a list style is much easier. Actually, it's easier to use a list style to create this than to come up with your own rows and columns and cards, right? Most of the UIs you see like this can be represented easily using a list style. And how do you know that? It is after you've built maybe 2-3 UIs using custom implementation, then you finally realize list styles are the best for these kind of cases. So we are just going to have some kind of an icon here, a text, and then we also have an icon here, and we are going to spread them in this UI. So they could be in a column in this UI, or you can just loop and then spread the list of histories you have in this list view, right? Now moving on to the next page, which is into AI bots page, we realize that on this page we have an app bar, because back button over here, which is an automatically imply leading widget. We have our text over here because the app bar has a title property. Then we have this 3 dots over here, and this 3 dots can be within our actions. So within the app bar there is a property called actions, and it takes a list of widgets, which is anything you want to put to the right of your app bar. Okay, so anything you want to put from here, just up to the title can be in the actions. On this page, we are not going to scroll, so the body of this page wouldn't have a scrollable widget, right? A list view. We are not going to scroll. I'm not seeing this page as scrollable. But if you wanted to scroll, yeah, of course, I mean, it doesn't hurt to make the page scrollable. But then probably I will just make sure this image is much smaller so that it fits on most screens. So that is going to be it. We are going to have an image here in maybe a column. Then we have a text below with some kind of a gap, right? Because we realize that the image is not that close to the text, so there should be some kind of maybe a sizer box here, or a padding around the image, padding bottom, right? Anyway, we can create space between this image and then the text. Now when we come to the last section, which is the section at the bottom, we have 2 icon buttons here, and these 2 icon buttons are all going to be the same. So let's say the normal icon button dot filled can do this work, and then we have this big icon button over here, right? And we are going to look at how to create this when we get to the code. So if you want to know how to create this, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss when we start working on it. So the next screen, which is the last screen we'll be working on, also looks familiar to the previous screen. We have an app bar with some kind of title, and then an actions property over here, having this more button, Then this looks like a scrollable widget, and this is a scrollable widget because there is a chat area, right? So we are going to have a scrollable widget here in the body. Then we have our chat bubbles, right? So maybe we can represent this with card. Just because we are focused on the UI, we can represent this with some kind of a card, right? And then maybe we have an image within the card, some text below. Then on this section, yeah, we can consider this as a row. Then we group these two together, or we can use a spacer over here to push copy button to the right, and then we have the remaining two icon buttons, the thumbs up and thumbs down, to the left. Now the last part is going to be our text input. So the text input has these icons to the left and then to the right. So we have something like a suffix icon, right? And we are going to look at how to create all these widgets very soon, right? And I forgot bottom navigation bar over here. So there is going to be your typical material to bottom navigation bar, right? And we are going to create this as well. So this is just a breakdown of what you'll be building in the coming videos. I mean, specifically trying to explain it to people who are new to Flutter or who want to get an in-depth understanding of how to represent UIs in Flutter. Now, if you want to see me build this, please subscribe and then hit the like button as well. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.